In this video, we will listen to practicing data professionals talk about the qualities and skills required to become a data analyst.
The qualities and skills of a data analyst: a person who's curious naturally, someone who has attention to detail and enjoys working with computers. A curious person will look to find answers even sometimes when there isn't a question, or they don't mind researching and looking in areas that may not have been thought of before. Attention to detail or looking for patterns. Do you walk into a room and just count naturally people, how the room is set up, paying attention to close details, and then enjoying computers. Because technology is moving so fast, something or a skill that you learn today in 2 to 3 years may not be applicable. So you need to be able to develop new skills and learn new software depending on how the market or the industry has changed.
Definitely both the technical skills and soft skills are required. Technical skills include Python, SQL, R, Tableau, and Power BI. And the soft skills or interpersonal skills mean whether you know what's the right data to utilize and what's the right tool to use and how to present the data to the key stakeholders. And these skill sets require the business acumen and the presentation skills.
You have to be very detail oriented. You have to love numbers. You have to love information and be willing to look at that information and not just look at it on the surface, but dive deeper. So for example, in what we do, I can't just take a bank statement at face value. I have to actually look at it and compare it. Does the seal look right? Especially in today's world, there's a lot of fraud and miscommunication. So to be, and people that are trying to take your information and fraudulently use it. So a good data analyst should be able to compare last year's information to this year's information to see if it looks right. You have to have that eye and that mindset and not just take things at face value.
There are many qualities and skills required to be a data analyst, and I'd break them down into two buckets basically: soft skills and technical skills. I think the most important soft skills for a data analyst is to be really curious, to ask a lot of good questions, to be really thoughtful, and to listen carefully and understand both the user perspective and your coworkers' perspective and what they most need from the data. And always be willing to learn, because analytics is a fast-moving field, so you have to constantly be learning and reading to stay on top of it. There are many technical skills required to be a data analyst. The most important technical skill for any new data analyst to learn is SQL. It's by far the most widely used, and anytime you're extracting data from a database, you're going to need to know SQL. And there is nothing quite like a data analyst with really, really good SQL skills. I think sometimes people get ahead of themselves and try a bunch of very complicated technologies before getting the basics of SQL down, and I think that's a really big mistake. I think it's always nice to know Python and R, which are the two main programming languages used to do data analysis. I think as a new data analyst, you don't need to be proficient in both, or really either, but starting to get good at one or the other is going to be really useful for your career. Another important technical skill to have for a data analyst is to be really good at least one data visualization tool and to understand general principles of data visualization.
Today, the end-to-end skill set of a data analyst is far more dynamic than what it used to be. So a data analyst needs to know what problem they're trying to solve with the data, pull that data as they need it in, the structure they need it in, using SQL from the data lake that it's sitting in. There'll be many different tables and they'll need to figure out how to join them and then pull the data, clean it up, wrangle, manipulate it, mine it so that they're able to kind of glean insights out of it, present those insights concisely, clearly using good visualizations and dashboards, and in other words, be able to tell a good story with that data.